Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're all doing well. I hope your New Year's is starting off on a positive note. I'm so glad you joined me today because we're going to be making this beautiful, colorful necklace. But more than anything, I'm going to show you how to combine beads of different colors and different shapes. Now, the nice thing about this necklace, besides all the beautiful colors, is that it's actually adjustable and you can wear it a number of different ways. And I'll show you how at the end of this video. And the beads came from the Curated bead box for the month of January. Before I show you how to make this necklace, we'll take a quick peek at the contents. And don't forget that I always model my necklaces at the end of this video, so please stick around for that. So let's go ahead and take a quick peek and then we'll start the tutorial. And here we have Curated bead box for the month of January 2024. The name of this box is Over the Rainbow. And with all the holiday events and everything that's happened in my home in the last few weeks, I totally missed the opportunity to do an unboxing. But like I said, I do want to show you a quick glimpse of what was in this box. Now, if you're not familiar with Curated bead box, I'll leave a link to the website down below so you can go check it out. I'll also leave a coupon code in case you're interested. But anyway, as you can see, this box was really colorful. There were definitely some very bright colored beads. We had strands of 10mm, 8mm, 6mm beads, but it also contained a beautiful designer glass bead mix, which is what we're going to be using for today's tutorial. The nice thing about Curated bead boxes is that they're a great value. You get a lot of beads for your money and very long strands as well. So let me go ahead and show you the materials we'll be using. Here are the beads I'm going to be using. Now this bead mix and these pink ones are from the Curated bead box for the month of January, but these are actually from December 21. And I'll explain why I chose these in a few moments. But basically I needed something gold, and these are the only 6mm beads that I could find in a gold color. They're actually glass pearls. Now in this tray I have two sizes. As you can see, I have 6mm beads, and then I have one 10mm bead. I'm going to use that large one as a focal, and the color of the large one is bubblegum, and it's a crackle bead, as you can see. The small ones are marble style glass beads, and the color is fuchsia with lilac. Let me give you a close-up. I would say they're mostly fuchsia. They have a little bit of lilac, but not much. And here I have a very colorful bead mix, and this bead mix has several shapes. Some of the beads are round, and some are oval shaped, and some are disc shaped or rondelle shaped. So we have the three different shapes, but then we have all those colors, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So today's tutorial is not really about teaching you how to make a necklace, because I know a lot of you already know that. It's more about how to work with colors and shapes and how to make the whole thing work. Let me show you what else we'll need today. These charms came in the box, but I'm only going to use two of them, and I had to make a decision about which ones to use. I knew that I couldn't use the white ones because I don't have any beads that have white. There were some beads in the bead mix that have the pink color, but I wanted my necklace to be very colorful today, so I'm actually not going to use those pink beads. So the only other two colors left are black and red, and that's what I chose. So I'm going to use this one and this heart. I think these are really cute. Let me show you the back. There's the back. They're nicely finished in the back. So anyway, these are the two that I'm going to use, and I'll use these for some other project. But obviously you can choose whatever color you want, depending on your taste. Let me show you what else we'll need today. I'm going to be using some craft wire today, and this is 20 gauge, and it's in a gunmetal color. Let me show you. I really love this color. I've been using it a lot lately, and the reason I like to use it is because it allows whatever colored beads you use to pop a little bit, and it doesn't stand out like silver or gold does. In other words, if that's not the feature that I want to be noticeable, I like to use gunmetal these days. Copper and bronze are also good colors to use for that reason. And here I have a lobster clasp and some jump rings as well. The jump rings are 4mm in size, and they're in a gunmetal color as well. So now that we've gone over the materials, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is figure out what colors we're going to be using and what shapes and in what order. And that can be a little bit challenging for some people, but if you're the creative type, you might not worry about that so much. Some people just start putting beads together and it's fine. You don't have to follow any kind of pattern or sequence. And I was going to do that initially, but then when I started working with these beads, I realized that I needed a little bit of structure. But again, guys, you don't have to do this. You can just start putting beads together, linking them together with wire until you get the length that you want. And in my case, I was a little bit limited because of the items that came in the box. I could have very easily gone into my stash and found other pendants or focal beads, but I wanted to stick to the contents of the box today to make it easier for those of you who subscribe to Curated Bead Box. So here's what made me realize that I needed to come up with some kind of plan. I knew these were going to be my focal beads or my focal charms. As you can see, there are quite a few black beads, which would coordinate really well with this charm. I also have some red beads, which coordinate with that charm. And I have some pink beads as well to coordinate with this large bead. But I was faced with a problem. I didn't have enough of the pink beads or the black beads to make a long convertible necklace. Now, if you just want to make a shorter necklace, then you wouldn't have to add anything else to this bead mix. But my necklace today is going to be about between 32 and 35 inches, something like that. So it's going to be quite long. And again, guys, I was very limited because of the beads that came in the box and the pendants that came in the box, or the charms. And you're probably wondering why I chose this large crackle bead. The reason I chose that bead is because it was the only one that had the same color as some of the beads in this mix. In other words, all the other large beads in the box did not match any of these colors at all. So I was kind of stuck using this bead. And I don't mind because I actually like it. I love that color. But as you can see, it's the same color as these rondelles down here. But since I'm using this as a focal, I actually need more of the fuchsia beads. And I didn't have enough in this bead mix. So that's why I decided to go with these. So I'm going to incorporate these into the necklace because that'll pick up the pink from this bead here. I hope that makes sense. And now let me explain why I wanted to use these beads here. These are the gold ones. The reason I wanted to use the gold ones is because the metal on these two charms is gold colored. Now it's not the exact same gold, but it's close enough. There are some black beads here that have like a gold stripe, but it's a very yellow gold and I didn't like that. So I'm actually not going to use these here. And I just realized one of my lamps is actually not turned on. Let me go ahead and turn it on. I don't know if that makes a difference. But anyway, that's just a brief explanation about why I'm using these colors, these additional beads besides the bead mix. But I don't want to clutter my workspace, so I'm actually going to remove these for the time being. And I'm going to remove all of these as well. And these gold ones. All right, so now let's get into this bead mix. Whenever you're presented with a bead mix that has different shapes and colors, the first thing you need to do is sort. And you need to do that to figure out how many you have of each kind. So that's step number one. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, as you can see, I've sorted my beads and I've created 3 piles. These are all oval beads. So they're all the same shape, but they're different colors. And these are 6mm rounds and these rondelles or disc-shaped beads. Now I know I'm not going to use these because I don't like this yellow stripe or band. It's too yellow in my opinion. I don't like it. So let me go ahead and remove these. And I don't know if you can hear my cat purring. He actually got on my lap as I was sorting, which is why you saw me using one hand only at times. I have to hold him with the other hand so he doesn't fall off my lap. So anyway, the first step is to sort, and then the next step is to eliminate the beads that you don't want. Now I do like these clear ones with a silver band, but I'm not going to use them today because I want my necklace to be very colorful. So let me go ahead and remove them. Okay, I've separated them as you can see. The other bead that I don't want to use is this light pink one. So let me go ahead and separate these as well. Okay, so now I've separated the pink ones and let me remove them. And this is what we're left with. And like I said before, I'm going to add these fuchsia colored 6mm beads. And I'm also going to add these gold ones. So now I have 2 piles of beads that I know I'm going to be using. So now that we've created these 2 piles, we have to figure out how many we have of each color. So now I'm going to separate them by color. Okay, I've separated them by color, And right off the bat, I can see that I have a lot of green ones and quite a few of the blue ones, but not many of the red ones. Now, before I started this tutorial, I tried looking for red beads because I wanted to pick up the red from this charm here. But believe it or not, I didn't have a lot of red beads. And I certainly didn't have any red ones that are this type. So that's going to affect the sequence of colors and beads a little bit. So what I recommend that you do is to first sort them out like this. Figure out if you can supplement any of the colors with similar beads. And if you can't supplement, then you're going to have to stick to the colors that you do have. Now I want my necklace to look like it's randomly put together, but aesthetically, if you can create some kind of structure or pattern, it's going to look a lot better. So now what I'm going to do is remove the beads that I have a lot of. So for example, these blue and green ones, I only want to have 4 of each kind. So let me go ahead and remove the ones that I'm not going to use. Let me go ahead and remove these. And by the way, this could change. This is just a preliminary thing. Once we start arranging beads, depending on the sequence, I may add some of them back in. So now I have 4 of each of these colors in this shape. And now I have to decide what I'm going to do with the black ones. I need some black beads because I want them to coordinate with this charm. So in order to do that, I need to supplement with more black beads from somewhere. I did go into my stash and I found some that are actually the same kind. Here are some of them. And these actually came, I think it was the May 2023 box. It was called Ebony and Ivory. So I was pretty happy that I found them. And at this point, I haven't decided how many I'm going to use. I just know that I'm going to use a lot more than just 4. So now I'm going to do the same thing with these over here. And once again, I can see that I have 4 of these disc-shaped beads in the blue color, 4 in the pink color, a bunch of green ones, and then this other color here, which I think is like a mauve color. And I have a whole lot of gold ones here as well. So once again, I'm restricted by the total number of this color here, which is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the excess beads. Now I want to have more than just 4 for these pink ones, because like I said, I want to pick up the color from this large bead. So I'm going to keep this amount for now, but I have 4 of these other ones. I have 4 of the green ones, the pink ones, the blue ones, the mauve, and the gold. I hope that makes sense. You're going to see in a moment how I'm going to arrange everything. So now that I have some idea of what beads I'm going to be using, I'm going to go ahead and start laying them out, and I'm going to do it in a few steps. The first step is to lay out the larger ones. So let me go ahead and remove these. Let me move these over here. Now there's really no mystery to this. It's just a matter of laying down a sequence. I know I have the 3 colors here and then I have more of the black ones. So what I think I'll do is alternate between a colored one and a black one. Let me go ahead and start with a black one, and then maybe a green one, and then another black one. And I'm leaving space in between because I want to put the smaller beads in between them. And now maybe a blue one and another black one. Let me just move them this way. And now a red one. I'm going to turn the corner here. And now another black one. Let me move these down. So my sequence is green, blue, red, and I'm going to repeat the same sequence until I use up all of these beads with a black one in between each color. So the next one is going to be green, then black, then blue, then black, red, and black. As you can see, I've repeated the same sequence, green, blue, and red. So let me keep going. Okay, as you can see, I've arranged all the colored beads and I've placed black ones in between. And I do have these 3 that are left over. So I'm not going to use these, I don't think. I'll figure it out later on. But this is the beginning, guys. So now all we have to do is fill in the gaps. And here are my smaller beads. Now I know I'm going to be using a lot more of the fuchsia colored ones. So I'm going to do a similar thing that I did with the black ones, but it's going to be a little bit more challenging. And full transparency, I've already kind of played around with these beads a little bit, so I kind of know where I'm going to be placing them. But I want to show you the process, so I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you. So basically what I'm going to do is place a small bead in between the large beads, And if I remove the fuchsia colored beads, I know I have 5 different types of the other beads. So I'm going to lay them down in a similar fashion. I'm going to start with a color and I'm going to continue that same sequence of colors throughout the whole necklace. Let me show you. Let's go ahead and start with a blue one. And now maybe one of these mauve ones. And then a gold one. And now one of these pink discs. And then a green one. So those are my 5 colors: blue, mauve, gold, pink, and green. So now I need to figure out how I'm going to incorporate these fuchsia colored ones. And I think I'm going to add them after every 2 small beads. Let me show you what I mean. I have a blue one, a mauve one, a gold one. I'm going to remove this one and place one of these fuchsia ones in its place. So now let me move these down. So now I'm going to repeat the same thing. As you can see, I have 2 small colored beads before this fuchsia one. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have 2 small colored beads and then a fuchsia one right here. And again, the reason I'm doing this is because I want more of the fuchsia colored ones. I hope that makes sense. So let me repeat the same pattern now. The beginning of the sequence is blue and mauve. So I'm going to put a blue one here and then a mauve one here. And now a fuchsia colored one. So we have blue, mauve, fuchsia, and now gold, pink, and fuchsia. So gold, pink, and fuchsia. This one's actually fuchsia colored as well, but I'm calling it pink so that you know the difference. This is one of the rondelle beads with a band on the side, as you can see. Or disc beads, I should say. So the next bead is a green one, and then a blue one. So let me go ahead and place them. Green, blue, and now a fuchsia one over here because I'm turning the corner here. So this is the beginning of the necklace, and it's going to snake around like this, and it's going to end right there. You'll see in a few moments. It's a little difficult to envision because nothing's linked yet, but once I link everything, it'll make more sense. So now the next one after the blue one is mauve and then gold. So let me go ahead and do that. Here's mauve, gold, and I'm going to place a fuchsia one right there because, like I mentioned, I'm going to place one after every 2 small beads. So the next 2 small beads in the sequence is pink and green. So here's a pink one, a green one, and a fuchsia one right there. I hope that's making some sense. So now we're back to the beginning. I need another blue one and a mauve one. So here's a blue one and a mauve one and a fuchsia one. And I think what I'm going to do is add more of the colored oval beads because I'm noticing that if I continue the same sequence, I can actually add a green and a blue one here. So let me do that. Here's a green one. Here's another black one. And here's a blue one. And I'm going to end with a black one. So now I'm going to fill in the gaps. We ended with a mauve one here. So the next colored bead would be a gold one. And the next one after that would be a pink one. So now I'm going to add a fuchsia one right here. And I'm left with this green one, which I want to use. So I think what I'll do is add it to this end here. So I'm going to end with that green one. And then this fuchsia one is going to go up here. And that's pretty much it. So let me recap again. The sequence for the large oval ones is green, blue, red, with black ovals in between. And I repeated that same sequence all the way through. The sequence for the smaller ones is blue, mauve, gold, pink, green, with a fuchsia one placed after every 2. So here I started with a fuchsia one, and I have 2 of the small ones. I have the blue and the mauve, then another fuchsia one, and then a gold and a pink, and a fuchsia one, and a green and a blue. And I can see that I made a mistake there. This one should actually be fuchsia. And then the mauve one, and the gold, and the fuchsia. So let me go ahead and fix the sequence. Okay, I think I fixed it now. Let me go over it again so I don't confuse you. I started with a fuchsia one, then two small ones, a blue one and a mauve one, then a fuchsia, then gold and pink and fuchsia, green and blue and fuchsia, mauve and gold and fuchsia, pink and green and fuchsia, blue and mauve and fuchsia, gold and pink and fuchsia, then green and blue and fuchsia, mauve and gold and fuchsia, and pink and green. I hope that makes sense. I know it's being a little bit picky, and like I said way in the beginning, you don't have to go through this process. You can just go ahead and arrange your beads whichever way you want, and because they're all different colors, it's going to turn out just fine. But the reason I like to go through this process is because I want my colors distributed evenly. That's really the only reason. Colors and actually shapes as well. So anyway, that's the process I use. You start out by sorting your shapes and then your colors, and then you have to figure out how many you have of each kind and which colors you want to supplement. Then the next step is to lay out the large beads in the sequence that you want, and then the smaller beads in between. And that's basically it. So now that I have the beads laid out, I'm going to start linking them together, and that's pretty easy. I'm going to use my 20 gauge wire. I've cut myself a piece. Using flat nose pliers, I'm going to grab the wire about 3/8 of an inch down, kink it. Using round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the end like this. Make sure that it's flush. Loop it. You want to make sure your loop is centered and closed, just like that. And then we go ahead and start up here. I'm going to load this bead like that. Grab the wire right above the bead, line up the bottom loop, bend it, snip off the excess leaving 3/8 of an inch, grab the end with my round nose pliers, make sure it's flush, and loop it. Make sure your loop is centered and closed. I always check the alignment of my loops, because even though I line up that bottom loop before I start, sometimes they do get out of alignment, especially when they're small beads. So there's my first one. Let me create another one. I'm going to grab the wire 3/8 of an inch down, kink it, grab the end, make sure it's flush, create a loop, load the next bead, grab the wire again with my flat nose pliers, line up the bottom loop, kink it, snip off the excess, leaving 3/8 of an inch, grab the end with the round nose pliers, and create a loop. Make sure your loop is centered and closed. And now I'm going to line up my loops. I'm going to go ahead and open up this one, insert the first one into it, and close it. So now I have my two beads connected, and that's what I'm going to do with all of these guys. It's going to take forever. So I'm not going to bore you by making you watch me do all these beads. And I don't want to speed up the film either because it's going to take too long. So I'm going to do these off camera, and then we'll come back and measure everything and connect the dangles and the clasp. So I'll see you in a few moments. Okay, I'm back. And as you can see, I've connected all the beaded components. And boy, it took me a couple of hours. It's definitely very time consuming when you're working with small beads and you have this many. But anyway, I did go ahead and measure it, and it measures 31 inches. So by the time I add the pendant and the clasp, it'll be about 32 inches. As I was creating the components and connecting them, I did mess up the sequence a little bit because I dropped a bead. It gets a little messy, especially when you drop beads and everything. So I did end up having to rearrange a few of them, but I got through it and I'm pretty happy with the final result. As you can see, all the colors are distributed pretty evenly. If you focus for a minute on the black beads, you can see how well distributed they are. Same thing with the fuchsia beads. So anyway, I really like this look. I think it's very pretty. And now we just have to connect the dangles and the clasp. Here are the charms, and here's the bead. I am going to put that one on a piece of wire. I have a piece of 20 gauge wire. Now one of my loops is going to be extra big. So I'm going to grab the wire with my round nose pliers at the fattest part of the barrel, like this. And I'm going to go ahead and form a loop. And then after I form the loop, I'll bend the neck of the loop. just like that. And now let me go ahead and bend it so that my loop is centered. So there's a nice big loop. And now I'm going to go ahead and slide the bead onto it, bring it down. And now I'm going to grab the wire right above the bead, line up the bottom loop, kink it, cut off the excess, leaving 3/8 of an inch. This loop's going to be just like all the other ones. And now let me grab it with my round nose pliers, make sure it's flush, and form a loop. Make sure it's centered and closed. Just like that. I am going to line up my loops though, because I want them to face the same direction. So that one's done. Here are 2 small jump rings. Let me go ahead and open one. I'm going to go ahead and slide this charm into this one. And let me close it. And now let me open up this one. And I'll slide this charm into it. So now I'm going to connect the large bead to the strand. So I'm going to open up this loop and slide the strand into it and close it. And now I'm going to open up this loop and slide my charms into it. There's one. And here's the other one, like this. And now let me close it. So there are my dangles. Here's a clasp and one more jump ring. I'm going to open up the jump ring, slide the clasp into it, and now I'm going to slide the strand into the jump ring and close the jump ring. You want to make sure you close your jump rings really well. And that's it. I think this is such a cool necklace. And you can connect your lobster clasp to any one of these loops. And here's one way to wear it. This would be like a Y-style necklace. You can have a nice long drop like this. Or you could definitely wear it long if you wanted to. Like this. There's all kinds of ways to wear it. It's very versatile, and I really love the colors. I hope you like it as well, and I hope I've given you some tips on how to work with beads of different colors and shapes, and how to work with bead mixes. So now I'd like to go ahead and model it for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.